Chapter 13. I couldn't believe all the junk food my dad and Allie had bought for tonight. There was popcorn, soft drinks, pretzels, and mini-sized candy bars. When Annie and I had asked if we could each have a friend spend the night on Saturday, our parents were really happy. Allie kept saying over and over how nice it was for Eddie to have a friend. I could tell it embarrassed him a little. Good, I thought to myself, because he asked Paul to spend the night. Paul was my friend. Not my best friend, of course, that was Manny, but still my second best friend. Allie, I don't think we need this much food, I said as she put it all on the counter. Well, maybe you don't, but I've been having lots of cravings lately, mostly for salty and sweet food. Honey, they don't want to hear about your cravings, my dad said and hushed her up. Yeah, Mom, I always crave salt and sugar. What's the big deal? Eddie said. Eddie and I shared a look that said parents can be so weird. Hey, Dad, do you think we could camp out in the attic room tonight? I asked. Well, I don't see why not. The electricity is on and the plumbing is working in the new bathroom, but there's no TV yet, he answered. Well, that's okay. We can tell ghost stories, Eddie said. That did sound like fun. Wait, I had to remember that this was Eddie. He would probably try and pull some prank at my expense. Still, we could haul our mattresses upstairs and put up the air mattresses for Paul and Manny. I'll order some pizzas for dinner, Allie said. I'm sure you're both ready for something gooey and cheesy after eating so healthy this week. And I thought Josh might need a little break from the vegetables. Why? I added, even though pizza sounded great. I just heard you've been a bit gassy at school lately, she answered. You heard that? I couldn't believe it. My dad came to Allie's defense. Now, Josh, Miss Beer was just giving us an update on your counseling session, and she just happened to mention that you've been gassy, that's all. You mean me and Eddie's counseling sessions? Aren't those private? Allie jumped back in. Of course they are, Josh. She doesn't tell us what you talk about. She just mentioned that you and Eddie were working through some issues. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Your dad and I were going to suggest family counseling anyways. It's hard to blend two families. But you boys have been making some real progress. Miss Waverly said that Eddie's grades are way up. Now he's losing weight, and you haven't been getting picked on like before, my dad added. That's because Eddie was the one picking on me, I wailed. I know, and now you two are friends, and we are not friends, I said. Are you sure? My dad winked at me. Just then, the doorbell rang. Manny held up the flashlight under his chin and made his face look scary. And that's when my cousin's best friend's brother's head blew off from eating Pop Rocks and drinking soda at the same time. The end, said Manny. Suddenly, a pillow sailed from under Paul's head and smacked Manny squarely in the face. That was the lamest ghost story I ever heard. And it wasn't even a real ghost story. Plus, you told us that story at lunch last week, Paul added, and Manny just shrugged. You want to hear a real scary ghost story? I asked. Yeah, they all said at once. Okay, toss me the flashlight. Manny tossed me the flashlight. It went sailing into an arc before I caught it perfectly in my hands. We'd set up the room so our mattresses made a big plus sign on the floor. That way we could all lay on our stomachs and have our heads facing each other. I put the flashlight under my chin and began. There was this guy in this room, and he was the last man on Earth. I started. Why was he the last man on Earth? Manny asked. It doesn't matter, I added. I bet it was because a virus wiped out the planet and everyone got sick and died, Paul added. Maybe it was aliens, Manny guessed. That's not possible, Eddie chimed in. Why not? Manny asked. Aliens already landed here. I saw it on TV. I watched this show about how an alien spacecraft crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Then the government tried to cover it up by saying it was a weather balloon. No way, that's cool, Paul said. Yeah, what happened next? Manny asked. Hello, I'm telling a ghost story here, I interjected. What happened next was that the government moved the aliens and the spacecraft to a secret base called Area 51, Eddie continued as if I didn't exist. Wow, I thought that was all made up, Paul said in awe of Eddie and his astonishing alien facts. Nope, it's the truth, my friend, the real truth, Eddie said, nodding his head knowingly while raising one eyebrow. And don't get me started about the moon cover-up. There are aliens on the moon? Manny asked. Hey, I interrupted, do you want to hear the ghost story or not? I want to hear about the moon, Manny said. Traitor. Eddie spent the next few minutes spewing off some nonsense about how we never really landed on the moon, that it was all some secret government cover-up. Meanwhile, my two friends just lapped it up. Allie and my dad appeared at the top of the stairs with a load of extra blankets and a bowl of popcorn. Allie had her hand in the popcorn bowl and was munching away. Oh, Eddie, you're not telling that moon story again. That we didn't go to the moon? You can't believe everything you see on TV. Allie sighed and then reached for another handful of popcorn. Eddie just shrugged and took the popcorn bowl. I brought up a nightlight for you fellas. I know you guys aren't afraid of the dark, but this'll just keep you from stubbing your toe if you need to use the bathroom tonight. My dad looked at me when he said this. I could tell he was sending me a message to keep my mouth shut about Eddie's fear of the dark. Thanks, Dad, I said, letting him know I got the message loud and clear. He gave me a smile and a nod that let me know I was a good kid. Eddie looked relieved. Hey, Josh, weren't you in the middle of a ghost story? Eddie said as my parents left the room. Oh, yeah, I said and continued. There was this guy in this room, and he was the last man on Earth. Except for the aliens, Eddie said, and we all burst into laughter.